Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope all is well. If not, remember that breathwork reduction kriya from the art of living is excellent to improve your well-being. I'm coming today with a Swiss video. Yes, a Switzerland video. I thought that some of you may be interested just for curiosity or maybe because you like to move here someday. Just to let you know what the job market is like here and what are your possibilities of moving here. So, as you know, Switzerland is a very rich country, it's the most expensive country in the world. It has many, many billionaires and it has a lot of banks, a lot of insurances. So there's quite a little bit of money here. You know, there are other countries such as Qatar, the Emirates, they have a lot of money, those people, even more than Switzerland, I will say. But Switzerland, it's one of those countries that where a lot of people want to work here for different reasons. You know, it's European countries, so is for some people, for Westerners especially, they feel familiarized, with the European heritage. Let's put it that way. Whereas if you go to Middle East, with the Muslim religion, so a lot of like United States, South America, their primary religion is Christianity. So when it comes to moving to a country that is quite wealthy and that it's not very cold, it has mild temperature, it is safe. It has overall some stability. Quite I will say quite a lot of stability. Switzerland is one of those places, and because Switzerland holds a lot of banks here, a lot of international companies because of the low tax system, which I have my doubts about that, about being low, because maybe I should make another video about it. But basically in Switzerland I pay one and a half, around about 1.5 and 2 months of your salary in taxes. Yeah, I know there are countries such as Germany you pay even more, but in Switzerland, you have to pay for a lot of things yourself, like your health insurance, you have to pay for yourself, and everything. It's very, very expensive, and it's not that delicious, like fruits, if you buy vegetable food in general, it's not better, than in other countries. Even it's worse because it's worse, but a lot of it's imported, right? Because Switzerland, like for instance, doesn't have a sea, so if you are into seafood or fish, it's not fresh and it's still bloody expensive. So it's a very rich country where the salaries are very high because it's very expensive, and there are quite a lot of possibilities of working here for different professions. A lot of people in Switzerland, it's a country that holds a lot of immigrants from starting from the 90s. A lot of people from the east, they moved here to Switzerland because of the war, like the old Yugoslavian countries. So it has this tradition, and then also be reminded Switzerland is in the middle of Europe, so there are a lot of neighboring countries, France, Germany, Italy, that come here to Switzerland to work, and also because of the language. The German speaking part of Switzerland, we have four official languages. The German speaking part of Switzerland, it's very attractive to the German speaking people because it's easier. It's on the border. Then we have the French speaking part for the French speaking people, then the Italian speaking part on the south for the Italian speaking people, and then there's one small part is Romansh. It's a Latin language, a mixture of Portuguese and Spanish. I can understand because I speak Portuguese, but it's a tiny minority. So yeah, so Switzerland is it's quite attractive because of the multinational companies, because of the high salaries. Now, if you want to come and work here, what are your chances? There are people from all backgrounds, like people from European unions. They don't need any special permit to work here. They can come and work here. Switzerland, bear in mind, Switzerland is not part of the European Union. However, Switzerland, it is. Switzerland has bilateral agreements, with all these neighboring European countries because they have to make business, right? So so European countries, they come here, they can come here, they can work well from the EU, European countries pertaining to the EU, European Union. They can come here, they can work, they can search for a job. Then you have Americans that come here for different reasons. Sometimes they get directly hired here without nothing specific, just with their American passport, without not having any ties to Switzerland or anything. Sometimes it happens that they just get hired. Sometimes it's because they are transferred with their companies here to Switzerland, because Switzerland is a multinational, it's a very multinational country, has multinational companies. So many countries, they have location, many countries, many companies, they have different locations in other countries, and they just bring their employees here, maybe for 2 years, maybe for 5 years. Sometimes it's just a pure transfer, so people come here and they work, and then maybe they can transfer to another company in the future. Other people come here to Switzerland for love, they married a Swiss or not a Swiss, someone who is just living here, and then they come and they live here. There are different reasons. Or I met once a Polish couple. He was the one being hired here from a company completely new. He was South African, but he had a Polish passport, and his partner, they were not married yet, but the company paid for his partner, as well, to come here, and then for them, for her to work, for her to come here with as a Polish at the time, she could stay, but if she wanted to work, then they had to get married because of the papers and everything. That was at the time. Things have changed now. Polish people, they can come and they can work. This was like in 2008, 9, what I'm telling you about. So yeah, so as you can see, a lot of people from different nationalities come here. Depending on the region where you go to, you find some people from some backgrounds or the others. Like if you go to French speaking part of Switzerland, because of the French colonies and France, then you have people from France, people from North Africa who speak French, who are working there, and the German speaking part, you have a lot of Germans here, but as well you have a lot of Portuguese people, because it is said that the economy is a little bit better than Geneva. The Geneva region is the region from the French speaking part. There are other regions, cantons, but Geneva is like the main city from the French speaking part, and Zurich is the main city from the German speaking part. And then and then in the Italian speaking part, you have a lot of Italians. So, so as you can see here, there's a mix, and because Switzerland is in the middle, you have a lot of Swiss people who have parents from different European countries, and they are living here as well, and they are working. So how if you want to work here, as I say, it depends on your nationality, depends on your papers. What do you if you need if you need a residence permit, if you can work already here, like people from the European Union. I know people who had a passport because their grandparents were from the European Union, and they could still come here from South America. So it's really your nationality that counts. Or about your passport, however you want to call it. So yeah, when it comes to the different industries, if you speak English, you can work in a lot of banks, insurances. You can work basically in, I would say, 70% of the companies. There are companies that are only German speaking, depending on the region where you are, right? I'm speaking now on the German speaking side. There are companies where they speak German because we are in the Swiss German part of Switzerland. But then you have other companies where you can work completely in English, such as Zurich Insurance, Swiss Life. Those are Swiss companies, but they have locations in other countries. So they are used to having employees coming from other countries here to work for a while for projects. So English is the working language. That doesn't mean that inside there won't be people who maybe speak in German, or so documentation maybe speak in German, maybe in German. So depending on your role, German can be needed or cannot be needed. And if you don't have, you may wonder like how much, what level of German. You don't need to have a very high level. As long as you have like B2, that's already enough. B2 is according, it's like advanced, not advanced, like intermediate advanced level. B2 is the European framework of languages. So you need to be able to speak it, but you don't have to speak it very perfectly, be proficient. Again, that depends on your work. But if we are talking about work where they just need you, to be able to conduct, hold meetings in German, so that you don't feel excluded, because let's say if the whole team speaks in German, they don't like speaking in English just because of one person, even if the company is international. Yeah, yes. So if the team is German, they will want to know how to speak German. Say it doesn't have to be perfect. They see that they have made the effort to learn, even if you just speak it a little, like to B2 level. They know that then you can get courses. There are companies that offer courses to their employees at a discount. Sometimes they have academies, their own companies, languages academies, where you can continue learning the language, and they are happy with that. They are very open. I must say that when it comes to giving opportunities to people to work and to learn, Switzerland is very good. Here, as I said, you don't have to have a perfect level of German. When I started a few years back interviewing in German, my level was not that good, but still they like it. They like that you make the effort, and they are not like in other countries, where if you are not perfect in their language, they don't take you. Here, they're very open, and they like it when you make the effort to learn the language, because attitude shows says a lot, shows all, and they like people with attitude, with initiative. And I can tell you, for instance, if you want to work in IT, you have everything. You have companies where German is, especially the small companies, you will speak in German, they will require you to speak German, as I say, not very fluent. Like, for instance, if you are a developer, you just need to speak German enough, understanding enough so that you can understand what is being requested of you. But then, you don't have to, you won't be creating presentations in German, where you have to speak in front of a public. Um, yeah, so it depends on your job, your role, but definitely it is very possible and much easier than what people think, to get a job here in Switzerland. I think people should believe more in themselves, in their competencies. Yes, Swiss is a very competitive market because a lot of people want to work here because of the high wages and all the things that I mentioned before, like quite a stable economy. But remember that Switzerland don't produce a lot of university qualified people. Majority of the people here, they do an apprenticeship. 70% they do an apprenticeship. So people with university degrees, if you are an engineer or you just have a university degree, they are sought after. And if you speak several languages, that helps you. If you speak the local language where you are going to live, that helps as well. And they just quite open, to interview people from all backgrounds. So if you ever wanted to work in Switzerland, I don't know what industry you are interested in. You can always, when you come here, you can always start in an industry that is not your own, or even if you want to change altogether from your industry. Imagine you are in a country where you are working in something else and you like to come here and do something else. Switzerland, I would say, it's quite flexible. Some people, when it comes to that, allowing, so here in Switzerland it's like this. They, excuse me, in other countries is like, if you study history, either you are like a history teacher, you do that, or you just clean the street. You cannot do some anything else. But here in Switzerland, like, you may have studied history, but then you can work in IT, you can work in HR, because they believe that the competencies that you have gained just by going through university curriculum, that equips you already. That equips you with an attitude already to be able to do many of the jobs, if you are willing to learn. So let's say history. If you could work in communications, the communication department, if you're a native speaker, for instance, and you had a history degree, communication department, recruiting, in talent management, in HR. It's not like in Spain. In Spain, for instance, people who work in HR are psychologists, or the most, if not all. But here in Switzerland, I was surprised when I came here to Switzerland. Like, like I would meet people, they would work in HR, and I would assume that they had a psychology background. They were like, no, 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 this is psychology. I was like, what? You find a lot of people. I've never actually. I think I've never met anyone from HR who worked. Who had a psychology degree. I think they were all just from business administration or communications. So, so there are a lot of opportunities in Switzerland. It is true that the job market is still quite niche, in the sense that they want you to be specialized in one area, okay? But that doesn't mean that you cannot find jobs in other area and industry. So let's say you've been working in the finance industry. To change to an insurance industry could be a little bit more possible, but to change to a completely like pharma industry will be a little bit harder. Because I think the finance terms, technical words in in a pharma company, they are different. I think that if you have been working in a bank industry, in a bank setting, in that sense, when it comes to changing industries, they are not that flexible, especially if you are not like an engineer. If you are an engineer, you work in IT. IT is IT. Doesn't really that make that much of a difference if you are like working in a pharma industry, biotech company, if you are working in a bank. Yeah, then you produce software like for a bank, and then you will produce software for a health insurance. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change that much. You will need, yeah, to learn, some specific things about the industry, but not always. When you're in engineering, it's quite, so especially IT. I'm going to specify it here. IT engineering is quite a broad degree that can be applied in many different industries. Though some recruiters, some talent management, they don't understand that. That's because many of them, they don't have this background, in understanding IT profiles or what we learn. They think like, oh, you were working in finance, then you just have to stay in finance and IT. Whereas for IT, really doesn't matter much. And as a matter of fact, in IT, there's a high fluctuation, the same way it happens in the States, for instance. So so yeah, so there are a lot of opportunities, possibilities. If you are looking for a job here in Switzerland, I can recommend you sites like LinkedIn or Indeed or jobs.ch. That's in German. But today, all companies, especially if you don't speak German, if you speak German, it's different. But if you don't speak German, you're looking to work in an international environment company, then LinkedIn is really the way to go. There's another website. It's called Xing, XING.com. That one is for the German-speaking region. So Switzerland, Germany, Austria. It's like LinkedIn, but for the German-speaking region. So if you speak a little bit of German, you have your CV in German. That's another thing. If you are open to interview in German and to find a job in German, as I say, your German doesn't have to be perfect, depending on the job you are looking into. Sometimes you have let's say you work in IT and you have some positions that are written in English. No, sorry, they are written in German. You can understand and you can go through interview in German, and they request you to have like an intermediate advanced level of English, because you will be working in both languages. But because the company generally communicates in German, they write it in German. But that doesn't mean that really for your job you will need it that much. Maybe just for meetings to communicate just a little bit, and don't be scared like, oh, a Germany meeting. With the time, you will just get it. They know this. So you just have to be confident on yourself, to be confident in your abilities. I know some people, they get a little bit intimidated because there's a reputation like on Switzerland there's a highly qualified people, and you think like, oh, maybe my education is not up to par, and so don't believe that. If you see a position that you think, oh, I think I could be a good fit for this position, at least 70%, just apply. You don't have to have a 100% match or 90% match, and sometimes you just have to apply for a position just to get your feet on the door, and then you can just stay in that job like for a year. You don't have to stay all your life, and then you can start looking for another job that is more fitting to you once you are here. So that's as well strategy. If you want to come to Switzerland, you want to live here, and yeah, maybe I think I need to make another video of this. Maybe you come here, maybe you don't like it, and then you decide to live to your country. But that's another video. I'll talk in another video about what is it like to live here, the culture, to work here as a foreigner. Yeah. So this is my video for today. I hope you liked it. Ciao.